There are some figures in sport who just dominate the conversation. For ages in football, that's been Jose Mourinho, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Love him or, well, not love him. You can't ignore him. He's always there.
Exactly. So the big question we wanted to tackle is what's really driving him? What makes him tick, keeps him winning, keeps him so talked about?
Yeah, and that's what we're digging into today. We've really gone deep into his own words, interviews, press conferences, you name it, across his whole career.
We really have. Sifting through YouTube stuff, old pressers from Chelsea, Inter, Real Madrid, Man United, Roma, Spurs, right up to Fenerbahce now, even documentaries.
Trying to get the full picture, you know, not just the headlines.
Our mission really is to pull out the key nuggets, the insights into his thinking, his strategies, how he may be changed over time.
Basically give you a shortcut to understanding the man and his methods.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. What were those early things, the experiences, the ideas that sort of
Yes.
formed the Mourinho we see?
Well, football was basically in his blood from day one. His dad was a player, then a manager,
Right, so he grew up around it.
completely steeped in it. He talks about watching his dad, the tactical chats they'd have, gave him this like insider view of management really early on.
But it wasn't just learning by watching, was it? He put a lot of stock in his formal education, too.
Oh, definitely. He's got a degree in sports science and, crucially, in football methodology.
Methodology. So, like, the science of coaching.
Pretty much. A systematic, scientific way to plan training, tactics, the whole team setup. He often contrasts that academic background with just getting coaching badges. Suggests his approach has this deeper theoretical layer.
And something that really jumped out at me, he figured out quite early that he was better suited to the dugout than the pitch.
Exactly. He had that self-awareness. Knew his talents were in coaching, managing, not playing at the top level.
That's quite insightful for a young guy.
Seems like a key moment, yeah. And he also spent time coaching up in Scotland, which he says was massive for his learning curve. Different styles, different pressures.
So you've got the theory from uni, the practical stuff in Scotland, the family background. What about his core beliefs, the stuff that really drives him?
Ambition. That's a big one. Always.
Yeah.
Play to win every single game. He talks about feeling that pressure constantly.
A relentless drive.
It seems to be the thread running through everything. And he also has this strong belief about talent being innate.
Yeah.
Like, you've either got it or you don't. He compared it to a school of arts.
Interesting. So you can't really make a top talent, in his view.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
You identify it, you nurture it, but the spark has to be there.
Okay, so ambition, an eye for innate talent, and this blend of academic and practical grounding. How did he then translate that into building those winning teams, that famous team spirit?
Well, it's way more than just buying good players. For him, it's about building connections between the tactics, the players, the club's whole identity.
And he trusts the players to get it.
Yeah, he thinks players are smart, they understand the dynamics, what's needed for the team.
He made that comparison with Kobe Bryant, didn't he? About shared principles.
He did, yeah. Saying that, like Kobe, maybe his demanding side only seems negative if you're not buying into those core team principles.
Right. It's all about the team.
Always. Team over individual glory.
Right.
He genuinely believes the best players make everyone else better, not just themselves.
So it's about balance, too, not just superstars.
Absolutely. You need that mix. Creative players, yes, but also simple, disciplined ones who just do their job for the team. That's crucial. And then instilling that mindset that losing just isn't acceptable.
That famous winning mentality.
Exactly. And he's known for, let's say, certain methods to build that.
Ah, the siege mentality. Us against the world.
That's a classic Mourinho tactic, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Creates this feeling that everyone's against you, which, funnily enough, can make the group incredibly tight.
Clever psychology.
And he gets leadership, too. He knows the difference between just being captain and being a real leader. He talks about Jorge Costa at Porto a lot.
As a true leader type.
Yeah, someone who really drove the team, embodied the spirit.
Sounds like he demands a lot from his players. No messing about.
Oh, absolutely. He's known for being direct, tells you exactly what he thinks, if you're meeting the standard or not.
You hear stories, right?
Mm.
Terry, Lampard.
Yeah, they talk about how demanding he was, but also, crucially, the respect and loyalty he inspired. Because they knew he believed they could meet those demands.
And the mind games, how do they fit into building the team?
Well, sometimes those strong statements, the controversial stuff, it's aimed inwards to motivate his own players.
Like that story about telling Terry and Cahill he wanted Varane?
Classic example. Using the idea of competition, maybe even a bit of insecurity, to push them even harder.
Fascinating stuff, the psychological side. Okay, let's switch focus a bit to the pitch itself, tactics. Is there one Mourinho way?
It's interesting. People talk about Mourinho ball, but fundamentally, he's pragmatic.
Pragmatic. How so?
He adapts. He looks at the club, its culture, and especially the players he actually has. Then he builds the tactics around their strengths. It's not about forcing one system onto every team.
Okay, give us an example. What about Porto, that first big success?
Porto was built on a rock-solid defense, really organized, but the attack could be expressive too.
So not just parking the bus.
No, not entirely. They
No.
used counterattacks a lot, sure, but it came from aggressive pressing high up the pitch. Win it back, go quick.
And the formation.
Often like a 4-3-1-2,
Yeah.
a midfield diamond, compact in the middle. Fullbacks gave the width, and Deco. Deco was the brain, the creative hub.
Right. Now, jump forward to Inter, that famous semifinal against Barca. Very different approach, right?
Oh, totally different challenge.
Yeah.
Totally different solution against that incredible possession-based Barca side.
Yeah, how do they stop them?
Deep defense, super disciplined. Then lightning-fast counters with players like Melito, Snyder.
And handling Messi. Did they man-mark him?
No, not really man-marking in the traditional sense. It was more positional discipline,
Yeah.
creating this sort of jail around him.
Jail.
Yeah, multiple players always aware, closing space, cutting off angles immediately if you got the ball in dangerous areas. It wasn't one guy following him. It was the whole defensive unit working together. Incredibly well drilled.
So that shows his adaptability, analyzing the opponent, using his player strength.
Exactly. He's brilliant at spotting weaknesses and figuring out how to hurt teams, often in those attacking transitions. But he also talks about learning, evolving. He famously said he wants to make new mistakes, not repeat old ones.
That's a great line. Shows self-awareness.
Definitely a constant process of refinement.
Let's talk about the people side again. His relationships. With players, with the clubs, what patterns did you see?
He talks a lot about his love for players who are totally committed, who left to win, as he puts it, dedicated in training in their whole life.
Does he have favorites?
He avoids naming names. Says any player who gives absolutely everything becomes a favorite, which fits his team-first idea, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And the clubs? He seems to form strong bonds.
He really does, it seems. Porto, Chelsea both times, Inter, Real Madrid, Roma.
Yeah.
He talks about this real connection with the fans, this mutual affection.
They seem to respond to his passion.
Yeah, he feels he gives them happiness and they give him that energy back. He did mention Tottenham felt a bit different, maybe because of COVID, not getting to that final, the circumstances.
What about young players? Does he give them a chance?
He says absolutely, if they have the quality. Doesn't matter how old they are. He agreed with that phrase. Quality has no age.
Any examples spring to mind?
Well, he mentions playing John Obi Mikel in a huge Champions League game early on, bringing through Nacho and Varane at Real Madrid. He clearly believes in youth if the talent's there.
And reviving players, too, giving them confidence back.
Seems like it. He used that Tammy Abraham header against Leicester as an example, getting a player to believe again to deliver at a big moment.
And managing someone like Ronaldo, what's his take on that?
He sort of suggests that with a player already at that level, it's less about basic coaching and more about managing what's next for them, guiding an established superstar, acknowledging their existing brilliance.
Of course, his career hasn't all been smooth sailing. There have been tough times, criticisms. How does he talk about those challenges, and how has he adapted?
He's actually quite open about making mistakes. Says learning from them is crucial.
Which ties into not repeating them.
Exactly. And he's very aware of how football has changed. Everything's faster now, player moves, manager sackings, the pressure from outside.
So he has to keep evolving.
Seems like it. Adapting to the modern game, but trying to stick to his core beliefs, too. It's a balancing act.
He's also talked about leaving clubs, hasn't he? The different ways that happen.
Yeah. Differentiating between choosing to leave and being asked to leave. He mentioned still wondering why after that first Chelsea exit. There's also this emphasis on creating that connection with the crowd, making them feel like they're playing with the team.
And he's managed all sorts of clubs, big budgets, smaller budgets.
Right. Different expectations, different constraints. He mentioned Roma and financial fair play, for instance, having to work within limits.
And now at Fenerbahce, dealing with rules like foreign player limits.
Yeah, he talked about that, how it affects your transfer plans. But he framed it as, look, that's the coach's job. Find solutions to these problems.
Let's touch on rivalries. He's been at the heart of some huge ones. How does he view them?
He seems to thrive on them, actually, especially that period in Spain against Pep's Barcelona. He called it a time when the world stopped for those games.
The intensity must have been incredible.
Off the charts, by his account. But he also notes that relationships with rivals can change, soften over the years.
Still got that competitive fire, though.
Oh, definitely. That desire to win, to, as he put it, destroy their party, referencing that Chelsea win at Liverpool in 2014.
He's still watching closely, too, right? Predicting the Premier League?
Yeah, shows he's still totally engaged with the top level, thinking about the competition.
Okay, so finally, his current move, Fenerbahce. Why there? What's the plan?
Ambition, again, that's the word he uses. The club's project, their vision, and the fans, their passion.
That welcome he got was something else.
Clearly made a huge impact. He mentioned the club giving him this document explaining its social importance, its role in the community. He gets the pressure, the demand to win every single game. The goal is clear: win the league in May.
Not just win the summer transfer window.
Exactly. It's about the title at the end of the season.
Right. We have covered so much there. A real deep dive into Mourinho. If you had to boil it down, what are the main takeaways?
For me, it's that blend. The tactical smarts, absolutely. But combined with incredible people skills, man management, plus this constant need to evolve, to learn, and underlying it all, that just relentless, burning ambition to win.
It's more than just wanting to win, isn't it? It's how he builds everything around that goal.
Totally. Like that famous quote, "Second is the first of the losers." That really sums up his mentality. No room for anything less than first place.
Were there any real aha moments for you pulling all this together?
I think realizing how early he knew coaching was his thing, that self-assessment, also just how flexible he really is tactically, despite the stereotypes, and the focus on team culture, those shared principles, and just, yeah, the sheer intensity of his passion for winning. It just comes through constantly.
So thinking about you, our listener, what's the relevance here? What can you take from understanding Mourinho's way?
Look, whether you're leading a project at work, competing in your own field, or just chasing a personal goal, there are lessons here, right? Setting clear standards, being adaptable when things change, sticking to your goals, even when it gets tough. These are pretty universal ideas.
Definitely. And maybe one last thought to leave you with. That nickname, the special one, was it just arrogance? Or maybe, just maybe.
Maybe it became a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. Born from that incredible self-belief, that relentless drive we've been talking about. Makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the power of mindset in getting extraordinary results.